RZA.
Real fan.
RZA. So
Speaking of Wu-Tang.
RZA sat down with, I believe they're from the New York Times Popcast.
Yeah.
And RZA talked about the moment that Wu-Tang Clan decided to go on tour and cater to white fans.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a really cool clip. So let's go ahead and swap this over here and play this clip.
And no, there wasn't no touring like that, but there was club days,
Right.
and colleges and all that. That's fun.
Yep.
And you can make some cheese like that, but you're not going to make it to the top of the food chain.
Sure.
Like that. And so my idea, along with Steve Rifkin and Rich Eisen, we talked about it. It was like, yo, Wu-Tang would rage. When it came time for the Rage tour, there's a lot of white fans out there.
There's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands.
That are ready for us. And so my pitch to the team was, we go here first in the summer, and then on the fall homecomings, we go back and get the blacks. But that didn't feel good. You know? Sure. Because when you out there and you Raekwon the Chef or you Ghostface Killer and you want your bitch and you want your and not taking nothing from them, but you young and you want to feel
a certain kind
that
of
hip hop thing you get when watch these rap get all up in your guts and bitches is like that and the bitches got on their rings and they fly. You want to see all that. See the Benz. You want to see all your homies.
RZA is so hilarious.
He's so New York, man.
Yeah. Because that's how it was.
So you came up?
Yeah, that's 95. That's 96. When Cuban Links drop and you go to Philly, it's like
I was like bong bong.
All the ballers are there. We doing Rage Against the Machine. We ain't here in Philly. We in Camden.
Different energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Not saying.
But it's 30,000
I'm
people
saying.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can speak from experience on that tour.
Yeah. I think there was a couple things that stood out to me on this interview, and especially with this part right here is there's a part that's not on here where he talks about he was standing next to there was a white kid that was talking to his mom on the cell phone, and she was talking about all the stuff that he saw, but he got the most excited about seeing the Wu-Tang logo and the Wu-Tang guys, and it goes to what he was talking about in terms of the crossover part. But the piece where he talks about the guys looking out to the crowd and that feeling different, that I really thought about that, because as an artist, you want to connect with your audience, but I could definitely see them being thrown off because it's like 10,000 white folks out there.
Yeah,
I could definitely see that.
He also referenced, like, he talked to Questlove, and Questlove had some weird feelings about it too.
Yeah.
He was like, sure, yeah, now I can buy a house, but at the same time, it's weird to go on stage.
Yeah, because he said Quest was scared when he went out there.
Yeah.
Listen,
so I can see that.
I'll say this about that whole, even experiencing that in real time.
Because you're talking about the Rage and Wu-Tang.
Rage,
you actually went.
I was there. It was Rage Against the Machine, Wu-Tang Clan, Atari Teenage Riot. This actually helped Wu-Tang. Because, like, when we talk about Wu-Tang being recognized from a popular or pop point of view, without them going on tour with Rage Against the Machine and Atari Teenage Riot, it wouldn't have started the snowball effect of everybody knowing who they were.
I do believe that.
At this point in time, though, this was what, 1996?
97. Yeah.
Summer of 97.
Yeah, 97.
So Wu-Tang is Forever, it just came out.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you're saying at this point in time, they hadn't reached that status.
This is
Absolutely
like the ultimate crossover.
They had not reached that crossover yet. Now, granted, they were on MTV, and of course, everybody in America had MTV. But them going on tour with Rage Against the Machine,
right,
who was big at the time,
for sure,
it was their tour.
Yeah,
Atari Teenage Riot, Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang was the only hip hop act on this tour, and this was in Noblesville, Indiana. Grant, to his point, him saying in Camden.
Yeah,
this doesn't look like Philly. It doesn't look like the Tunnel in New York.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It don't even look like, I can go as far as say Indianapolis, because I mean,
True.
we had a lot of hip hop shows here like that were in smaller arenas, like at the it was the Murat Center. Now it's Old National, but we had hip hop tours here. But them going on tour with them gave them a totally different audience, a totally different reach. And at the end of the day, it actually helped their careers, in my personal opinion.
I'm sure it did, but yeah.
You know,
I guess I just didn't have the framing of how big they actually were in 1996, 97, as opposed to 98. you know,
like
how much
36 Chambers was like
how big Wu-Tang Forever really was, I guess.
It was big, and it's because of that tour. Because like when I talk about when Enter the 36 Chambers came out, and I can go back to high school, I was an anomaly because I was just a fan of music. So like when I'm in school, they actually used to call me East Coast a lot because I listened to East Coast music. I didn't alienate East Coast rap. You know what I'm saying? I listened to everything. So Wu-Tang was one of my favorite groups in junior high school. You know what I'm saying? Before Wu-Tang is Forever. Wu-Tang is Forever dropped my senior year.
Was that 97?
97.
So I was a freshman in 97, and that's the same year I remember Uncontrolled Substance dropped, I think, too.
I bought the double CD,
and that's
for
what
Wu-Tang
got.
Forever.
And that's
Uncontrolled Substance.
That's. I thought that was 98. Maybe it's 97.
Uncontrolled Substance came after
Wu-Tang
Forever.
came out June 3rd, 1997.
Yeah, Uncontrolled Substance came out after that, if I'm not mistaken.
But that's the album that got me into Wu-Tang was Inspector Deck's album.
Deck album.
So I'd already been listening to Wu-Tang since 94.
Right.
By this time, and nobody was really rocking with Wu-Tang. It was like when you met somebody that listened or liked Wu-Tang.
It was rare,
like,
even in our
what's
high
up,
school.
man? You know,
We
what I'm
know
saying?
that.
I listened to them
It was
too.
rare. There's a few people.
So it's like y'all came together as being the people that listen to Wu-Tang Clan.
Right.
It's like seeing the Jedi. It's like, oh, you know about that?
I didn't or wasn't introduced to any friends that I met through Wu-Tang that I'm not still cool with now.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And we were far and few between at that point in time. And then when Wu-Tang is Forever came out and they went on tour, that shit blew up.
Well, I mean, look, as someone who has, and I can see where RZA is coming from, despite the fact that you're seeing 30,000 people, or not 30,000, but a lot of people, a lot more people, than you would have seen at a club date or at a college tour, you know. But I've hosted so many events over the past 20, 25 years. You know, there's something, about being in the grimy, almost situation where everyone's energy is comparable to yours, as opposed to, it's hard to say, 'cause, when you're talking about Rage Against the Machine, you're saying it's more corporate because that's definitely not what they're about.
No, not at all.
But
it was more white though.
Yeah.
Facts.
But at the same time,
it was edge.
It was, but it's like, damn, okay, they might be feeling us, they might slam dance, but it's different than when you have, the hustlers come out. It's different when you have, the girls come out and they got the ice cream.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just different.
No, I feel that.
And so I can see where maybe there were parts of Wu-Tang who were like, nah, man, I'm not really feeling this vibe, as opposed to like, we get into the money. And at the same time, like I heard RZA, it might have been somebody else in the group. At that point, we hadn't really gone on a big tour.
Yeah.
We had been doing club dates and little spots off here and there. But as far as being on a stage and having this type of time and then curfew and then, like, we hadn't done that. And so, like, it's hard to go from club dates to not just arenas, but amphitheaters.
Yeah. So let's say they didn't do this. If they hadn't have done this, in hindsight 2020, they would be Souls of Mischief.
I don't think so.
Nah, yeah.
Because the thing is, Wu-Tang Forever went number one on the pop chart before they went on.
They had a good budget on that, too.
Before they
had a good budget.
I just remember, like, you went to the record store and, like, you saw Wu-Tang Forever for $27 or whatever, and you had to make some real financial decisions, but you went ahead and be like, all right, let me go.
Copping that. That's easy.
I paid $26.99 for it. I bought it in Mississippi while I was visiting my grandmother.
Somebody gave it to me.
Easy.
Damn, for real?
You didn't like it.
It had a double CD, and the second one was enhanced, where you could get like special features.
When you put that second CD on and it's yours, come on, man. I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about that shit.
Yeah.
Because that was the second CD. That was the second half of this shit. And that's the first song that you were introduced to, versus when you put in that Bone Thugs and Harmony double album. And they had to give you the feature with Tupac on it.
Look, I just remember a friend of mine bought the wrong version. And
I did that too.
Bought it's like, it's Woo, mother.
No, I bought the wrong version when I got the Enter the 36 Chambers. I actually bought the wrong version.
There was a clean version of 36 Chambers?
Yes, because you know how I got it? I got it from the penny raffle, which was BMG.
Yeah.
So I bought a whole bunch of shit, and I checked off the wrong version. So my version of Enter the 36 Chambers was clean. So I ended up having to buy that twice.
Bring the ruckus.
Yeah.
You know what?
Couldn't even listen to
what
it.
I loved is like how, you know, this was still at a time when they did their edits would just flip words, or like maybe silence them, and then like in like NWA would rewrite the song, which is something that was crazy. But like Wu-Tang had kung fu noises and bees. Like
Lone said a whole bunch of bees.
no, I loved Wu edited versions because it was actually they're actually kind of fun to listen to.
Is there anything negative around the mindset that RZA had here about
Trying to get the white folks.
Negative? You said is anything negative?
trying to get the white folks' attention to get to that money in that type of way? Are you ostracizing fan base? Are you ostracizing culture in a sense?
If they had changed who they were to do that, then it makes me look different. But they stayed authentic through the whole process.
That is true.
So that's why I'm not going to.
And I think being on a bill with somebody like Rage Against the Machine as opposed to like Creed.
there you go.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Creed wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, but that's just an example.
A different time.
But no,
period,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you know.
It actually, like, when you talk about, because Wu-Tang essentially was a rebellion. It wasn't a rebellion in the sense of a Rage Against the Machine. As a fan of hip-hop and you rock with Wu-Tang, that kind of was your rebellion as far as this is my pocket of people. You know, so it fit with Rage Against the Machine and Atari Teenage
But
Riot.
do you know what tour I had heard about? It never happened, but what would have been the first like kind of rap rock tour? This was like the word, but of course NWA fell apart. It was going to be NWA and Guns N' Roses. And
that would have been crazy.
And if you look at the You Could Be Mine video, which was off of it was the lead single for
Terminator 2, right?
Yeah, for Terminator 2. It was also for Use Your Illusion that Axl Rose actually has on the NWA hat in the video. That was a thing that was going to happen, but you know, things just went left.
I actually liked Guns N' Roses.
Use Your Illusion 2 is fire front to back.
Yeah, I like Guns N' Roses.
It's like there's no skips.
Is that the blue one or the yellow one?
The blue one.
The blue one. That's the one I had.
That's fire.
November
Rain. Like, it's got everything on that. Like all the hits. Like there's no skips on that.
Because the thing
I
is,
had the tape.
Yeah, because the crazy thing is, it's like instead of putting out a double album, there was like, okay, well, we know our fans like
we gonna tell you something twice.
Yeah, they was like, you can get which one that you want if you combine both
Blue
if
one
you want
was
to.
fire.
Yeah, because the blue one had You Could Be Mine on it.
It had all the big ones.
Yep.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Civil War, which was a super great song too. But yeah,
isn't Axl from Indiana?
Yep.
He is.
Yeah.
Yep, he is.
Shout out to the Wu, man.
Shout out to Wu
RZA.
and white fans.
Gotta have them.
Yep. Was this like the? You got to.
Gotta have
them. Gotta have them.
Here's another random question. What was the first hip hop act to garner a lot of white fandom?
Run DMC.
Do you think? Like, was it on a mass scale? Like,
No, it wasn't, because I'll tell you this.
I mean, on the scale of like Wu-Tang Clan.
My first concert, I've been to a lot of concerts.
Good question.
Man. My first concert, I was probably 5 years old, and it was Fresh Fest 84. So this is dating me, letting you know.
It's all good.
I was a year old
Yeah.
Buy you one
in
here.
Guam.
My brother really wanted to go see Houdini
And they, like,
and
had to
Run
take you.
DMC. And the whole deal was, my mom went, he went, and I went, obviously. This is a tour. This was back when Market Square Arena was around.
Yep.
Come on.
It was not full by any way, shape, or form. I remember we were sitting there. We could have went down further if we wanted to. My mother was an honest person, so we sat where she bought the tickets.
That's
I ain't mad at that.
shout out to
mom. That's
shout out to
real.
black mothers just being like,
that
no,
part.
these are the tickets we paid for.
We sat
This is
where
where
we
we're
bought
gonna
the
sit.
tickets.
That's right.
So I think I was able to see Nucleus, Run DMC, Houdini, JD was out there breakdancing and shit. There was no white people there at this particular show that I remember.
Right.
I don't remember seeing any white folks at this particular show. Now, when NWA came into play, if you look at those concerts, you see lots of white people in the audience. So, I mean, I don't know. I think Run DMC introduced a lot of white folks to hip hop once they did the song with Aerosmith
Aerosmith record.
and then they were featured on Sesame Street.
True.
But before that, I don't think that they moved the needle as far as introducing
maybe not. But
white
I'm thinking about the post. That's probably what I'm thinking about. After they'd been on Rolling Stone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about that era where they show the crowd, and it was mostly not black people.
Yes.
You know,
You
That's
talking about
100% true.
the video for the Aerosmith joint?
no. What Aerosmith? Walk This Way was what, 86,
86, 87.
and so I just remember going forward. You know, when you look at those crowds, and when you're talking about those big hip hop shows that were major metropolitan areas,
86.
yeah, you're talking about, you can't even have, maybe not in 84 when it was Rockbox and King of Rock, but by the time it got to 86,
Yes. 100%.
white people was involved, especially in that tour when they was on tour with the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was a rap then.
Now that right there is different. Yeah, when you go out with the Beasties, that's different.
And then when you talk about that tour, it might have been the Raising Hell, not the Raising Hell tour. Well, yeah, probably Raising Hell tour. It was when they did the first episode of Yo MTV Raps, and it's like Fresh Prince and Chuck D. Like when they show the crowd, it's everybody.
You know what's crazy too? That you bring up Public Enemy. Public Enemy's crowds there was a lot of white folks in them crowds.
Oh yeah.
As militant minded as Public Enemy's lyrics were, they weren't really, I can't say racist or even prejudiced, but it was to energize black people, but their crowd was mainly white people.
Hey man, you don't have to be black to be pro-black.
True.
Yeah.
Well,
Shout out to
No, I'm just saying. Like,
he got a point.
I mean,
shout out to Forrest Gump.
Look,
Yeah.
Look, I'm saying when you go, like, it's just crazy when you see the hip hop artists who have had more of a progressive message. Who do you see in the crowds?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember going to it was like a Dead Prez show.
Yeah.
It might have been 40-50% white people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The crazy thing, I remember there was a night when, gosh, we've been doing coaches for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the nights when it was a flip in the midterms to where the Republicans took the House. I think it was during Obama's administration.
Yeah, I remember that night.
And I just remember there are all these, folks who were a part of the Republican Party, but what did they want to hear? Too Short. They wanted to hear NW. They wanted Public Enemy. But I'm like, damn, I wish you'd have listened to the lyrics other than just the beat.
Yeah.
Man.
What are you doing out here?
and that's kind of the commonality between, maybe to the Rage Against the Machines and some of these other groups as well. When we were talking about the connectiveness of like the anti-ness of Wu-Tang and the anti-ness of Rage Against the Machine, and of course Public Enemy and all this other. A lot of those people are kind of the same types of people that would vibe with the same type of stuff. Most of them, they're people that are finding out 25 years later that Rage Against the Machine means something completely different than what they thought it meant. But,
yeah.
but
I don't even see how they thought that it meant different to what it
Back then.
It literally told you what it meant.
it's just, you know,
Tom Morello was very,
Come on, man.
Zach De La Rocha, they were very honest about where they were coming from.
deconstructing indoctrination is a very challenging thing.
You're very true.
And, something that I speak on very often.
Yeah. And it
it's-
kind of goes back to the conversation we had where it got cloudy, where you couldn't tell who was with what versus what they listened to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
around that time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's crazy. But yeah,